Good morning, seventh grade. It is Tuesday. We are starting off with your graphic organizer today, which is called Parts and Expression. This is your second graphic organizer that we are going to walk through together for identifying terms, coefficients, constants, and variables. Okay, so when we're all done, this is going to be the title of your or the front page of your graphic organizer, and then after each one, there's going to be definition and then examples. So the first one we're going to talk about today is terms. A term is going to be any part of an expression that you can add or subtract. So it's going to be something that's being added or subtracted. That's it. What we're going to do is we're going to take these examples and we're going to underline each term to prove it. Okay. So here is our first expression. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And that's because there's something being added or subtracted at each step of the way. Now, the directions say underline, but I'm going to keep it a little bit easier than that. I want you to circle or put a square around them. So our first term is x cubed. It's going to be a positive x cubed because there's no symbol. Whatever's in front takes the symbol with that number. Our second one, I'm going to put a box around it, is going to be, we're going to add 2x squared. And these can be anything. These are like your tacos and your nacho and your french fry problems from last week. So an x squared is different than an x cubed. So this is going to be a taco. This would be a nacho. The next one, I'm going to put an oval around it, is going to be our negative 5x. And our last one is going to be positive 4, our constant. So there are 4 terms in this answer. Down here, we have 3 terms. Our first one, again, 5xy, it's going to be positive, a negative 4x squared, and a negative y. Now, none of these have the same variable, so we cannot do any combining. Right now, we are just pulling out the terms, the types of terms that you could see, and they are going to be the parts right here that you can add or subtract. The last one we have, 3 terms here. The last one we have our first term, 4ab squared, and that's going to be positive. 3 positive, negative 2b, and positive a. So again, there are 4 terms. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it around, and then we're going to start the coefficients where I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to let you follow. Okay, here's our next part. Now that we've covered terms, now we're going to go through coefficients. And a coefficient is going to be part of a term, and the term has to have a variable. Okay? The number in front of the variable is the coefficient. So the number and the letter together are the variable and coefficient together. The number is just the coefficient. We are going to highlight each coefficient. And if each coefficient is going to have the sign of the number in front of it. So this one is going to be a negative 4x squared. So the sign in front of it. This one's going to be a positive 5 because there isn't a sign, which means it isn't negative. If there isn't a coefficient, it's not visible, it's not written, then we pretend it's a 1. So just like on our food activity, if there was just a cheeseburger, that meant 1 cheeseburger. So if there's just a y, that means a negative 1y, and so on. So I'm going to do this one with you, and then I would like you to do these 2 on your own. So if I go ahead and look, I have a variable here, and it's going to have an invisible 1 in front of it, which means the first coefficient I have to highlight, I had to create. There's a 1. My next coefficient, co-pilot, co-captain, is my 2x squared. Here's my variable, so it has a 2 in front of it. So this is like 2 cheeseburgers or 2 tacos. It just tells you how many x squareds to use. The third one is going to be a negative 5 because it's with its co-partner, the x. This is not a coefficient. I am not going to highlight the positive 4 because there's no variable. It's not a co-anything. It's by itself. So I'm going to pause the video. I would like you to try these 2 on your own. Okay, let's check your work. So if you did it correctly, this coefficient is 5, this coefficient is -4, and I had to draw in this coefficient of -1. On the third example, 4 is a coefficient to AB squared. This is not. There is no variable, so I have to skip this one. This one does not have one. This is a constant. Now we're back to coefficients with a variable, a -2, and then we're back. I had to draw this one in. This would be a +1. I'm going to pause the video to prepare for constants. You can follow along with me. Okay, so the exact opposite of a coefficient is a constant. And a coefficient is a term that has no variable with it. If you do not have a variable, then you are a constant. Again, the constant takes on the sign of it, the symbol in front of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to circle each constant. So I'm going to do the first one with you. And then again, I'm giving you time for the next two to try it on your own. So if I have no variable, this one does not work. We have a variable. This one does not work. We have a variable. This one does not work. We have a variable. So coefficient, coefficient, coefficient. So our first one here is a constant. This is a +4. It has no variable. So I would like you to pause the video and try the second and third examples on your own. Okay, last but not least, here's our examples. In the second one, we have no constants. Everything had a variable, an xy, an x squared, or a y. There are no constants in our second example. In our third example, we have a variable ab squared, we have a variable b, and a variable a. So the only constant you can see here is +3. I would like you now to take your graphic organizer, fold it in half, and then fold it in half 2 more times so that it folds into a book. Okay, if you did it correctly, you have the cover of the book that says parts of an expression. When I open it up, it would be our examples on the terms. And if I open it up again, we have our coefficients and our constants. You need to take this book and rotate to your next station with one of the teachers in the room. Thank you guys. Have a good day.